Welcome to the Published and Paid podcast, where we share book, business, leadership, and life lessons in 20 minutes or less to help you build a thought leadership brand and business. My name is Jasmine Womack. I'm a former middle school language arts teacher turned seven-figure entrepreneur, and I am glad that you are here. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Published and Paid podcast. My name is Jasmine Womack, and I'm excited to be with you today. And so in today's episode, I'm going to share with you how I choose coaches and questions that I ask before investing in rooms. And so if you are watching on YouTube or the video and you see me looking down, I'm literally just sitting here looking at my notes. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you. All right. So listen, I take coaching very seriously. I'm a coach. I'm a consultant. This is what I do for a living, and I love it so much. And I feel so strongly about coaching in the online space that I even went back to school to get a doctorate in education, where my dissertation focus is on examining the motivations behind why business owners invest high ticket into coaching programs, in non-traditional education spaces. And the online education space is education, whether people know it or not, whether they realize it or not. Typically, when you invest in a coaching program, there's something that you are investing to learn, that you are investing to develop. And therefore, it's education, but it's non-traditional. It's not provided by a school. It's not provided by, some accredited institution. And so I feel so strongly about this. And I also feel strongly about operating in integrity. And I feel strongly about the many charlatans that are coming in the online space and promoting that they offer a certain thing, taking people's money for it and leaving them high to dry. And so not only am I putting in the work of research, like I've done my schoolwork, but like I'm putting in the research and creating research around this industry and around this topic. But as a coach and as a consultant who also invests in coaching, I wanted to create this, do this podcast episode to share with you my approach to hiring coaches, my approach to investing, and give you a look inside of my thinking processes and my mindset when I am considering hiring a coach or consultant to work with for the purposes of business growth or, fixing something personally. I think that we live in a day and age in which things are, I'm going to be honest with you, it's pretty scary. It's exciting to literally see the world change before our eyes. And if you're a millennial like me, I feel like we are the generation where we have encountered so much change in one lifetime, right? Like we went from the CD players to the MP3 players to the iTouch to the digital music, right? Like we had literally the way that we listened to music, and when we were younger, it was records. So we went from records to cassette tapes to CDs to MP3 players to total digital music space. We went from regular phones at home to everybody's having mobile phones, to going from Nokia green screen to everything being in color to now everything is touchscreen and swipe. Like those are super huge technological shifts and mindset shifts and generational shifts. We've gone through COVID, right? We've gone through a space and time when everyone was playing outside to now we're almost terrified to let our kids play outside without some type of adult supervision because of all the craziness going on, and we live in the age now of AI where 10 years ago, we were still using dictionaries. Like 10, 15 years ago, we were still using dictionaries in schools. And now we have artificial intelligence when you can give it a prompt and it'll give you a series of emails and all the things literally in less than 5 seconds. And so I feel like we are a very unique group because we've got the blend of old school with how we grew up. And now we've got the new school, and we are literally like this transitional generation. We are the generation that understands both worlds, and like our children don't understand the world before us. Like I didn't even realize it, that my son was telling me, Mom, like we were talking about a newspaper. He was like, Mom, what is a newspaper? I was like, Jair, you've never seen a newspaper? He was like, no, I've never seen a newspaper. I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't realize that he had never seen a newspaper. So it was scary to me because it's like the news and information he gets is going to be all digital. And I have to do a better job of showing him these things. And so I don't even know how I got there. But what I am saying is that let me get back to my point of this is that we live in a day and age in which anyone can use an artificial intelligence tool, have it to create an outline for them, scripts for them to say. And if they have a bubbling personality, if they look halfway decent, and if they can come across as trusting, they can trick folks. Right? Like we live in a day and age in which there's content being created and we don't even know if the person that we're looking at is real. Like it could be totally computer generated. It can look real. It can sound real, be totally fake. We live in a very, very, it's interesting, but scary time. And so I still think that, yes, even with AI, you can go put a prompt in AI, but if you know anything about ChatGPT or Claude or any of that, it's going to continue giving you ideas. There's never going to be a stop. And the ideas that it gives you are going to be as specific as the prompts that you give it. And so there's still a barrier or a limit to how beneficial AI can be for you, right? And so with that being said, there are people out here that just use AI to create a whole entire persona to make it seem like they know information, and then they absolutely don't. They know absolutely nothing. And so, yes, even in the age of AI, I believe in coaching. But you've got to be sure that the person that you're choosing as your coach or as a consultant to work with, that they have depth of knowledge, that they have competence, and that they actually have the ability to teach or to do the thing that you're hiring them to do. Because there are a lot of people that will just pull stuff up on AI, or using an AI tool, put something together, and then they can't even answer strategic questions. They can't give you information that AI won't give you from personal experience. AI is only as good as we are because AI gets this information from the information that humans feed it. All right. So I do believe in coaching. Coaching has accelerated my personal progress tremendously. And if you are not clear on what you want and you hire somebody, you can be taken advantage of. And so I want to share this episode to just kind of give you some kind of insight into my mind as to how I choose coaches, why I choose coaches, and what my personal experience has been, and how you can go about, choosing a coach or selecting a consultant to help you with your business needs. So I will say that I believe that every coach should have a coach, and coaching has helped to accelerate my business tremendously. And I can pretty much promise at this point that I'm always going to have a coach. One of the things that I do is that I get very clear on my business needs and goals. Not just my goals, but what are my needs? What are some of the things that are bottlenecks for me right now or challenges? And I know that I need expert help to get through. And so I get just very clear on what that is. Like you shouldn't go hire somebody and you don't know what you need. Like I was speaking to someone on in a DM, and they wanted a service where I was asking them questions, and their answer was, I don't know. And the thing about it is that if you don't know, I can't know. Like if you don't know what you need, if you don't know, and if you are not even willing to try to articulate, like if you're as an adult and as a business owner, if you are not willing to even try to articulate what you think you need, you understand what I'm saying? Like you can't put that responsibility on someone else. You're going to set yourself up to be taken advantage of, or you're going to end up making an investment in something, and then you're going to be upset when really the fault was yours because you were unclear to begin with. So get very clear with what you need. What are your business needs? What are those holdups? What are those bottlenecks that you haven't been able to get past? And what are your goals? And how do the challenges in your business or with your book align to the goals that you have? All right. And based on your needs and based on your goals, you find a coach to help you with that. If you want to monetize your book and build an ecosystem of products and services based on your thought leadership, you don't need to go hire an AI coach, right? You don't need to do that. Like, let's just keep it all the way real. The second thing that I do is that I make sure that the need that I think that I have aligns with my long-term goals. So I don't think just for right now. I think, where do I want to be from 6 months from now? Where do I want my company to be a year from now? Where do I want my company to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now? And I make decisions now based on those goals. You got to understand that you don't become the person and you don't build the business that you want to build in 3 years. You built the business that you want in 3 years. You built that today. The business that you want a year from now, you built that today. You built that with your decisions. You built that with your strategies. You built that with the work that you're doing. You're built that with the coaches that you hire today. So everything that I do today is with intention of where I want to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. So I make sure that the need that I have aligns with my long-term business goals. That this isn't just something that I want fly by night, but I am willing to stick with this thing. Like, I'm in it. I'm committed to it, right? The third thing that I do is that I pray, and then I start to God, I know that this is the vision that you've given me for my business, hands down. I know that you have showed me where I'm going to go. You showed me what I need to do, but now I need you to show me who I need to help me get there. Like, I know that I can't do everything by myself. I know that I'm not meant to. And I also know that in a multitude of counselors, there is wisdom. I know that we are supposed to have counselors. We're supposed to have people around us and in our ecosystem and in our lives to help guide us and usher us to the next level. And typically, these counselors that guide us, they're people who know more than us. They've grown in wisdom and skill set and development through doing the work. So that means that I can't trust my friend who knows nothing about digital marketing. They don't know nothing about books, monetization, sales, or anything, to give me advice or give me feedback based on something I'm trying to do in my business. They're ill-equipped. They're not qualified to talk about that. So I know that I have to build a circle of counselors. I've got to create an extended system in which I can go and ask for help and ask for advice. And I also know that that's likely going to have to be something that I pay for. Because the same way that I have faith in the business, I've got to have faith in the money that it's going to take to grow this business. I've got to have faith in the money that's going to take to put the book out there. I've got to have faith in the money it's going to take to run the ads. All right. I've got to have faith with these things. And so I pray about it and I start looking. And I know that God sends me people when I start praying. God sends me people when I'm like, I have faith that God's going to send me who I need, what I need and who I need. And so, like, for instance, when I was thinking about changing directions with my ads agency, for a couple of years, I had an ads agency running my ads for me on Meta, and it worked until it didn't. And I knew that I needed something else. And I ended up seeing an ad fly across my timeline, my feed, about ads. It was about an event on ads, and it was like 20 minutes away from me in a few weeks. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I kept the page up on my computer for a couple of days, kept going back to it, and went ahead and got my platinum VIP ticket. And because I know how events work, I was just like, listen, I went to the young lady's Instagram page of the event that I had purchased a ticket for. I said, hey, I'm such and such. I purchased a platinum VIP ticket to your event. Excited to see you there. But I know how events work. What is the program that you're going to sell? So I can go ahead and start having these conversations with my CFO, with my husband, and start getting things in line. We got on a call. I joined her mastermind like a week later. I already knew I was going to join. I'm a procrastinator sometimes. Like, I knew I was going to join that month. I don't know why I waited, but I did join within a week. And she didn't have to follow up with me or nothing like that. Like, I had it up on my computer. I prayed about it, boom, went ahead and joined her mastermind. It was a $30,000 investment. I had found her from an ad, had a couple conversations with her, told her about some of my challenges and some of my concerns. We got on a call. I ended up joining about a week later. She didn't have to keep follow up with me. I already knew I was going to join because I knew that was a problem I had. And I knew that I didn't want to have that problem anymore. I knew that I needed a way to still run ads. And I found And I was talking to somebody else, but I was like, this is a better deal. Like and it wasn't necessarily a better deal financially. It was actually more of a financial deal. It was going to be more of a time commitment deal, but it was going to be better for me in the long run. So whereas I was in conversation with one agency to run my meta ads, they were going to run my meta ads up into a certain threshold every single month. And then they were going to start taking a percentage. And I'm like, is that what I want long term? Whereas the other one, it was going to be more investment up front. And I was going to have to put in the time to learn the ads, but I was going to have access to learn ads on all platforms. I was going to be able to develop that skill set and understand it for myself. And so just in the longer run, the $30,000 year-long investment was a better deal for me. So I didn't look at it like what I need right now. Yes, I need this right now, but what does this look like for the long run? And I made a decision with that in mind. All right. I had the same year I hired another coach. I was not planning on hiring no other coaches, y'all. I was taking statistics for my doctoral program. Both of my kids had started, well, they were playing sports. So Zion was playing volleyball. Jair was playing basketball. We were doing tutor. I was very busy. I had these doctoral classes. And you're talking about now you're in this program and now you add on another program on top of a doctoral program. Like what? But I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like I kept seeing people just copying like work that I had done so hard, like with just really refining my messaging and getting it right where I want it. I saw people that had absolutely nothing a few months ago, literally sounding just like me. And it was just so irritating. And they were coming to my events. They were coming to my email list and just copying. And it was just so irritating, and I was just like, I need to position myself in a way in which nobody else can sound like me. And I really needed to position my way in which I could stand out and really start positioning myself and my business and my company for long-term business and brand elevation. In comes Marshawn into my DM. I literally had prayed that morning. Marshawn sent me a DM later that day, a few hours later. She was saying all this stuff, saying some things that she had noticed about my brand, telling me that she had a new mastermind. I would be a great fit for it. And I asked her a little bit more information, and everything she said verbatim was everything that I had prayed for. And I'm gonna be honest, I made an investment. I was in school. And with her, she didn't do 12-month payment plans. You pretty much had to pay everything all up front. I was like, God, you're gonna have to help me figure this out. And was it a stretch? Absolutely. Absolutely. At that point in time, I had never made big investments of $14,000 every single month but that was what that level was calling me to do. And that was her requirement. And I made it happen. I did it. And boom, I ended up doing $500,000 at an event that particular year because of some messaging changes, because of some offer refinement. And I'm still working with her to this day. And that might've been like a year ago. I'm still working with her to this day. I knew that because of where I want to do some things that I want to do long term, and because of I want to go into the traditional publishing space. I want to eventually write or publish at least one book in the traditional publishing space so I can speak to that process and teach about that process eventually. I know that I'm going to have more lower ticket things to apply to the masses. And so I hired a digital products coach to do that. I'm thinking, again, not right now, long term. I knew that with my dissertation, I had heard horror stories of people spending 3, 4, 5 years just literally writing the dissertation. I was like, no, I want to be done in 6 months. So when I got to a certain point in my doctoral program, I hired a dissertation coach, and I had already been talking to them for like 2 years. They wouldn't even take you until you were at least into a certain point in the program. So when I got in that point in the program, it was what it was. And again, similar to Marshawn, they required payment up front, or you either had to take out financing. Cool. Here's 12 grand. Well, I did 6,000 and 6,000. Boom. Good to go there. And because of that coaching, I am in the first semester of my dissertation writing, and I am just about halfway done with my dissertation. At the time of this recording, I have my first defense coming up. My chapter 3 is already written. I just got to put it in, and I will be able to say, hey, I completed a done dissertation in 5 months. I will be able to say that and be a success story for that particular coaching program. But because I knew my goals, I knew that I didn't want to just try to sit there and figure that out on my own, right? And figure out how to get it done and look on YouTube. No, I'm just going to pay you to give me the fast track. I'm going to pay you. It includes the editing. I can get support. Y'all are going to look over my stuff before I send it to my chair. It's going to help to accelerate this process because I want to be done with this. I don't want to spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years writing this. I don't have that type of time. I understand some people do. They think they have it, but it's just like when you're spending that type of time on things, you're literally wasting other areas of your life. It's just like I can make this payment to accelerate my progress. It's going to accelerate my return. That's how I look at it, because I know that the quicker I can get this done, the quicker I can leverage these credentials, I can make that $12,000 back in 1 hour with a keynote and a training. I know that I can make that $12,000 back in half a day with a corporate training. So this is like, what are we really talking about here? And I see a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm going to wait till later, or I'm getting my finances together. This is like, just stop the bull crap, right? Like, stop the bull crap. You're an adult. You know what's in your bank account. You know whether or not you got the money. You know whether or not you are willing to, oh, I just got to move some things around. What does that mean? Stop lying to yourself. You either have it or you don't. And you're going to pull something out of your retirement to invest in it, because it doesn't take 3 and 4 weeks to get it together. At most, it might take a few days to get finances together, right? But we got to get to a point in our businesses where, in our lives, where we stop being delusional and we be honest with ourselves about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And when you are really stepping into that next level of that next level version of yourself, you take ownership. And you take ownership for where you are. You take ownership for where you want to be. You execute faith and you make actions that align with that. And then I have my sales coach, because I'm like, at this point, like, I was doing my launches and I was hitting like a certain revenue month every single month. And I'm like, I know that I need to work on my sales. I made over 4 million on my own without any formal sales coaching. I knew that I had been searching for a year for a sales coach, and all I had been coming across was these bro marketers or these male sales coaches, and I just didn't like them. And I ran across somebody, and I'm like, that's my girl. Her right there, that's my girl. She's a younger version of me. She's got the same passion, the same drive, the same level of focus, and she's a beast when it comes to sales. And she knows what she's talking about. And she's a generational salesperson. Let's rock and roll. I ended up hiring 5 coaches in 1 year because of what I planned for the long term. Now, I understand that for many people, that's a lot, especially while being in a doctoral program. But for me, it was exactly what I needed. And these are all still my coaches. Like, a year later, these are all still my coaches. And so the fourth thing that I do, so I pray and I look. No, the third thing, I pray and I look and I make a decision. So, which leads me to number 4. I pray and I look, and then I pray and I move. I move forward. I take action. I make a decision. I say yes. I don't sit there and say, oh, I'm going to come back in 3 months. I don't sit there and say maybe one day. I don't sit there and say, oh, well, let me get some things. Now with Marshawn, I said, listen, I'm working on it. And I was actively working on it. And I went and made the money and paid her. Like, that's what it was. That wasn't my working on it. I'm sitting back twiddling my thumbs in my head, figuring it out. No, my working on it was I was actively doing the work to invest in that level of coaching. And I did it. Right. And so I pray and I move and I make a decision. I don't sit there in my head. Like, sitting in your head thinking about things is not making a decision. That is not movement. Taking action is movement. That's moving forward. The 5th thing that I do is I show up. So when I do hire a coach, or when I do hire a consultant, I show up to the calls. If I can't make the calls, I don't call it a wash. Oh, I can't make the live. I watch the replays. Like, we got to get out of this. Oh, I just got to show up live. And if I'm not showing up live, it's not worth it. Like, why isn't it? The information is the same, whether you catch it live, whether you catch it pre-recorded. And even if you catch it live, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to go back to watch the recording of it to catch things that you may have missed. So I don't understand people who invest and then they don't show up and do the work. Now I understand everybody goes through things. And I've gone through things like when I hired my ads coach, I didn't do anything in a program for 5 months. I didn't do anything in a program for 5 months, not because I didn't want to, but because I was in statistics part 2. My husband had he had gone out of town to work for about 3 months. And I was just really busy between my doctoral program and the kids. And I just didn't have the capacity because the change that my husband made was very sudden. So the plan that I created for myself went out the window overnight. And I was trying to catch my foot in the rest of the way. But when it got to a critical error, I said, when it got to a critical point, I said, I can't drag my feet on this no more. I woke my behind up at 4 a.m. and I was going through the modules and executing and asking questions. I show up. I watch replays. I watch pre-recorded lessons. I do the work. I apply the work to my business. I come back and say, hey, this is what I did. This is what I need some guidance on. And I execute. It's your responsibility when you enroll in a program to actually show up and do the work and execute. Show up in the group, even if nobody else is. Show up for yourself. Stop basing your questions and stop basing your actions based on what other people do. We are adults. What other people do should have no concern with you. So what if other people in the program and nobody else is posting in the Facebook group? You be the one to post in the Facebook group. You be the one to post in the school group or the community, even if nobody else is. You get what you need. You show up, you ask questions, you share your progress. You get what you need and stop basing what you do on what other people do. Show up, do the work, watch the modules, post, ask questions. And when you do that, you'll find that you're the one that's growing. You're the one that's moving forward. You're the one that is making progress, right? Rarely do I wait on making a decision when it comes to coaching because I know what I need. And I don't depend on another adult to tell me what I need. And I see this a lot, especially with my folks, these same women who are leading, who are running teams, are so indecisive when it comes to themselves, when it comes to their goals, when it comes to their businesses. Make a decision, stand on the decision, stick with the decision, and move forward. Now, here's how I think about coaching and making an investment. And here's also a reason, like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, when I first started getting into coaching, it was very foreign to me. It was very foreign to my husband, and he wasn't really on board, not because he didn't trust me, but because he didn't trust other people. And he called it snake oil. He didn't want me to be taken advantage of. But after seeing some of the investments that I made over the years and identifying and being able to see how it's grown my business, he's on board. And so I bring him into these conversations now. And so I tell him, like, when I was making the switch of ads, I told him, hey, I'm thinking about joining this mastermind. I'm almost certain I'm going to join it. I really need it. It is a $30,000 investment. So that means that instead of paying this ads agency $30,000, I would just shift that over here to this. Hey, I'm thinking about hiring this digital products coach. It's $900 per month. Or it's this one over here is $5,000 for this program. And this one is $900 per month if I want to be able to get on a call. What do you think about it? These are the pros and cons. I have these conversations. And so at one point, he would have looked at me crazy if I said I want to invest $30,000 per month, because he trusts my word. And because he knows that I'm going to make good on the investment, he has no problem at all supporting the decisions that I make in my business. No problem at all. Now, he might say, who is this person? Where is this coming from? Da, 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 da. He might ask me some questions to make sure that I have my head on straight. But what I find is that, yeah, you can be in a situation where your spouse doesn't necessarily support you because they don't know about it. But just because they're unaware of the industry. But more often than not, many spouses don't support because they've supported before and you didn't make good on your word. So if you are one of those people, you've been making investment after investment after investment, and you haven't been doing the work, at some point, change the narrative, change the story that you're telling yourself, and do the work so you can get better results. Now, here's how I think about investing. If I invest $30,000 into this program to learn how to run ads, and then I implement the strategies, like I put in the hours. My coach said I put in 25 hours of studying. So I put it to get my ads up and going. They looked at it on the back end. So I implement the strategies. I run ads. I get one $30,000 mastermind client from running ads. That's an immediate ROI. Anything after that is profit. That's how I think about it. If I invest $10,000 into this program and then I sell $10,000 worth of digital products, I made a return on investment. They can never take back what I've learned. They can never take back what I know. I've gained a skill set, and everything after that is profit. If I make a $4,000 investment into this program and I book 4 clients at $1,000 from the information that I learned, was that not worth it? This is how I think about it. So now once you start shifting your perspective of coaching, it becomes less about how much it costs and more about, do you believe that you can get a return on your investment? And are you willing to do the work to do it? Even if it feels like it's not the right time, even if you feel like, hey, this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made investments. I make money in my business, but it really becomes, hey, like, I wasn't planning on making this investment. I already make money in my business. This is an unexpected expense. But once you start looking at it from, instead of being an expense, and instead looking at it as a vehicle to expand your business, then you won't look at it as something that's just going to take money. You'll start viewing it as something that's going to make you money time and time and time again. And that's how I think about it. That's how I think about it. That's how I approach coaching programs. And that's why I'm also successful in the coaching programs that I enroll myself in. I make it my business to be a star client and to always be a person that coach can come to for a testimonial. So for me, I try to be the type of client in other people's programs that I would want in mine. And that's what you got to set yourself up to be. Like, what kind of client would you want to work with? Are you the type of client that you want to work with? And if you're not, then that shows you some areas of growth that you have. Are you the type of client that you would want to come into your program? Like, there was some lady, there was somebody that came into one of the challenges, and she was like, last year life hit and I had to pause for like 6 months. What if I enroll and life hits again and I have to pause? I was like, why are you setting yourself up? Why are you preparing to fail? Why are you coming into this preparing to fail, preparing to have to pause? So instead of asking, what if you have to pause? Ask yourself, what if you develop the skill set to generate income and the mindset to be able to continue moving forward even when life happens? Because what happens is we revert to the level of training that we have. And if anytime life happens, your MO is to just stop and pause and take a break, that's what you're going to find yourself throughout life. Who wants to be 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, constantly pausing because of life? Like, that is a miserable way to live. That is not how I want to live. And that really shouldn't be how you want to live either. And if you don't want to live like that, then at some point you got to change it. But it's not going to change overnight. Like, you really have to do something to change it. That means that you got to do the opposite of what you've been doing. And so when you want to do the opposite of what you've been doing, you got to stop asking yourself, how much is this? And is this an expense right now? You got to ask yourself, do I believe I can do this? And am I willing to do the work that's required? That's what you got to ask yourself. Now, here are some questions that I do ask, because I do a lot of group coaching. I do mostly group coaching. Some of the group coaching comes with occasional one-on-ones. So I like groups. I work from home. I don't want to just be in coaching all by myself. I like being able to connect with other people. I like being able to expand my network. I like doing those things. And there's power in doing that as well. So I will ask, how's the group structured? How are the group calls structured? What days and times are the group calls? Just because I want to know, like, I know that it's impossible to offer calls at a day and time that's going to work for every single person. So I like to know just to see if there's a way that I can alter my schedule so that I can make them, or just go ahead and put in time to listen to the replays. I ask that too. How quickly after the call is the replay made available so I can schedule in that time to go back and review. I will ask, if we run out of time on the call, how can I get my questions answered? I will ask, are questions still answered even if they aren't pre-submitted? Like if I come on the call, like, because sometimes you get questions at the last minute, right? Sometimes questions come up based on questions that other people ask. So can I still get my questions answered even if they aren't pre-submitted? I will ask, how far in advance is the calendar available so that I can plan ahead and plan appropriately? All right. And so I hope that today's episode was helpful in helping you develop your strategy and developing your skill set in choosing a culture consultant that can help you achieve your next goals. And if you are ready to learn how to write the type of book that you can monetize and position yourself as a subject matter expert in your field, or if you already have a subject matter book and you're ready to monetize it through speaking, coaching, consulting, digital products, courses, events, and workshops, then I invite you to join us in the Monetize Your Book Challenge. This is a 5-day challenge where you're going to learn how to turn your future or current thought leadership book into a profit producing machine. So over the course of 5 days, we're going to go into your positioning, which is how you position yourself as an expert in your field and stand out in the market. We're going to go over your packaging, which is how you can create offers and services extending from your book. We're going to go over your platform, which is how you show up with your marketing strategy on specific platforms. We're going to go over your pricing, which is where we're going to look at how you're pricing your books, your products and services. And then we're going to go over your profit planning, which is how you can actually turn your books and your programs and services into a profitable business, which is ultimately what you want, right? So you can go to www.jasminewomack.com/monetize. If you are listening to the podcast, the link is also in the show notes. And if you want that my eyes on your work, my eyes on your book, my eyes on your business, and my eyes on what you have going on so that you can get real time in the room coaching, then definitely make sure that you grab your VIP Platinum ticket and I'll see you there. Until next time, release your expertise, take the stage, get published, and get paid. I'll see you on the next episode. Welcome to the Published and Paid podcast, where we share book, business, leadership, and life lessons in 20 minutes or less to help you build a thought leadership brand and business. My name is Jasmine Womack. I'm a former middle school language arts teacher turned 7-figure entrepreneur, and I am glad that you are here. Let's get started.